Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, it is that time. We are going to look at the institutional ownership of Hcmc on a bit of a deeper level. We'll be looking at the institutions that own this company, why, and what this means for us as investors, giving some of my personal thoughts and opinions on that. Please do bear in mind though, it is nothing more than speculation and just my personal thoughts and opinions, as nobody knows for sure why they actually own Hcmc. I'm just giving my thoughts on it and my interpretations. I'm sure you guys can understand that, but if you will enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also remember I am not a financial advisor, something which I'm sure you already know, but I'm going to say it again for my safety and for yours as well. If you can join us on Twitter, you can. It is at N2S Finance. It would be appreciated if you could show some support over there. We have a Patreon as well, link is in the description, and we have a website called markets-daily.com. We actually posted an article yesterday, I believe it was, on Hcmc. Definitely is worth a read. We spoke about what happened last week in a bit of detail. I think it is, whilst it is only a 5 to 10 minute read, it basically tells you a lot of what you need to know, and I also linked in a YouTube video in there which we published last week as well, so you can find everything that you need to know on our website, link in the description. Anyway, let's jump into this one now and have a look at who is actually owning this company that a lot of us are invested in. So first things first, institutional owners, there are 12 of them. We can see that 12 are long, 0 are short, and 0 are short and long to potentially hedge their position on this stock. So that is good for a start. Only 12, it's not the most investor stock from institutions as you would expect from a penny stock, but the fact that we have 12 institutional investors from this penny stock alone is a good sign, I do believe. And bear in mind, guys, this data is coming from fintel.io. Perhaps if you have other sources, you may see different things, but this is just what I'm seeing from Fintel, so do bear that in mind. Anyway, we can see that the shares outstanding number is displayed down there, and the fact, like you said, that we have all of these institutions being long, to me, is a bullish sign from the get-go. We can see the institutional share number down here. If you do want to have a read of it, we can see this equates to about 0.13%, and there are about 435 million shares owned by institutions, I believe that is. The institutional value is $522,000 US. The reason for that is because it says down here $522 US, fair enough, and this is obviously in increments of 1,000 just to make it a bit more shorthand and perhaps easier to read. But when we go down a bit further, we can see who the actual institutions are, and obviously how they have been adding over time. You can see a bit of a graph down here for Hcmc's institutional ownership, and we will be looking at all of that as we do go through this article. But the main thing that I want to focus on in this video is looking at who these institutions are. So we can see the names of the institutions down here, and we can see how many shares they own. We had a new institution buy into this stock on the 29th of the 7th, so literally just a few days ago. We spoke about this in another video, but I will just remind you guys in this one. The company is called Kovac, I believe it is, Advisors Inc. They bought 750,000 shares, equating to roughly $1,000. So we can see really they didn't add many shares at all, but the fact that they did add shares, I do think it really is a good thing. We can see that this company or this institution actually has a portfolio value of $878 million. That really is a lot of money for an institution. I mean, yes, there are bigger institutions out there, but definitely is quite a big one, and they are investing in Hcmc. They have 702 positions open right now, so they do have quite a lot of different positions, and yes, they have only taken a small position in Hcmc, but to see a company this big take a position is good in my personal opinion. Now we can have a look at some of the other companies down here. We can see a few which apparently exited their position according to this, because it says shares are 0, and we can see the amount changed by a percentage. It says minus 100%. I would assume that that means that they have sold. The same can be said for this one down here, but we can have a look down here at some others which have definitely not done so. I think if we tap on this here, we can see which companies actually own the most shares, and we will do that. We can see up here a company called Finemark National Bank and Trust. They own 431 million shares of Hcmc. They added to their position on, I believe it is the 12th of the 5th. So, just a while ago, a few months ago, we can see that they added to their position. and we can see that they added quite a lot of shares. The value was about $518,000, and that really is a lot. Let's have a look at who they are and how much they are worth. They are worth about $3 billion, I believe that is. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I did read that number correctly. So they really do have quite a lot of positions open as well. Their current positions are 441, so they have money all over the place, but this really is quite a big institution, and they bought quite a lot of shares with Hcmc. Now, bear in mind, it is not necessarily worth as much as it looks. It was worth $518,000 at the time, and yes, $518,000 to me or to you is clearly a lot of money, but to these institutions with the values of hundreds of millions, if not billions, it really isn't the largest amount of money. But the fact they have betted, $500,000 on Hcmc, to me, I think it really is a strong sign. I think it does reinstate their sentiment in this company, and the fact they have held since the 5th month of the year, which I believe off the top of my head is May. The fact they have held that long, especially after we have seen drops mainly from May, they added on these highs up here. We can see the specific date that they added was the 12th, I believe it was. So yeah, we can see they added back on the 12th. If we look at where Hcmc's share price was on the 12th, we can basically highlight very clearly that the price of Hcmc was 0.0018, and they have watched that stock actually fall to the current position of 0.0008, so it has literally fallen by 0.001. The fact they have held all that time, I believe that's a good sign. I think it shows that they are in Hcmc for the long term, because what we really want to understand about Hcmc's investors is not only why they have invested, but also what their investment strategy is. And yes, we could look into that in absolute depth, in a lot of depth. If you guys want to see me cover these institutions in depth, I can do that for you. I just thought in this video we will have a brief look at them, because I know it would take quite a long time to do it in depth. But if you do want to see it, we absolutely can. But yeah, we can see they have held for all that time after all these drops, and that really does make me happy in a way, because it makes me feel like this is a strong company which definitely can hold even when the prices go down. So I think it shows that they have quite a strong conviction in Hcmc ultimately going up in the more long term. Now, our second largest institution bought into this stock in the 7th month, which is obviously July just gone, and they bought on the 16th. Now, at the time, on the 16th, we can see that the share price was sat around the point down here of 0.0009, if not 0.0010. So, even since then, they have seen a bit of a drop, but some could definitely say they have seen the previous levels of support and seen that Hcmc does remain comfortable in that level, and saw this as a decent opportunity, potentially, to buy the dip. But obviously, they have not added too many shares. I only added 2.5 million, which really isn't that much. It's only about $3,000, which for an institution it's not really a lot, and that is our second biggest institution that we apparently have at the moment. We'll have a look at who this company is and what their portfolio value is. So we can see they only have 105 open positions, and this is really quite a small number. So clearly Hcmc being one of those, I think it is good, even if it is only a small position in their portfolio of $354 million. So clearly quite another big institution, but they added Hcmc to their position, and now they clearly have 105 open positions, which is really good. So we can see some people apparently look quite strong on Hcmc. They do see the potential being there, and I think that is ultimately good. So we can see down here a few others which do not really own that many shares at all. We can see if we have a look down here, we have our next one along, which we just covered, which is called Kovac Advisors. They have 750,000. We have VWM, I believe it is. They own 400,000. Let's have a look at who they are. They are basically a company which owns $251.7 million worth of portfolio. I was going to say stock, but who knows what it is invested across. Ultimately, they have 410 open positions. They have a lot more than our previous investment firm that we just looked at. But there we go. They have added to their position in Hcmc. We have another company down here called White Lighthouse Investment Management. They have 125,000 shares, which really isn't a lot of money. And you can see down here they actually only have 120 open positions. So the fact they have even took out a small one on Hcmc, it does make me quite happy. They are worth about $365 million, so clearly another company with a lot of money. And as we go down here, we can see a few other companies, you know, a few other firms which you may or may not have heard of. Ultimately, they do not own too many shares at all. 50,000, 50,000, 50,000, 40,000, 25,000 down there. But one thing that we can see is that more and more do appear to be adding, which is good. So yes, they do not have the largest numbers in there, but we can see even when we go out to the most recent date, we have one that added in the last month. Actually, we have a few that have added more in the last month. But basically, we are seeing a few more institutions buy in. Like I said, we had a completely new one up here on the 29th. We had these down here that we can see. And yes, none of these really added a big position. And we don't really have any investment firms with big positions in HMC, apart from the one that we outlined. But these being in HMC for a start, I think it is a good start. It makes sense for them to be sensible with their money, as that is what they do as institutional investors. They need to be smart with the companies that they invest in. But you know what? Even if they have taken a very small gamble on HMC, I think it is good. One thing that we knew from the beginning is HMC is a penny stock. I always say this in all of the videos, but HMC is a penny stock. It's going to have quite a lot of risk with it. We are still waiting on the lawsuit, which is going to be a major catalyst if they do win it, and if they lose it, it definitely could be a major thing which people see as negative. So ultimately, we are still waiting on that. So HMC does appear to be more of a gamble, but one thing that we know is that once we get that lawsuit out of the way, and once we see positive revenue figures consistently, and the company use that money to build and build, we are definitely looking at a potentially solid company, and that would be really good for the future. And I think a lot of the investment firms do understand that. Now, as professionals, I think the investment firms have one thing that we do not have, generally speaking, as retail investors, and that is patience. Now, don't get me wrong, most of us who are here for HMC now do have a lot of patience, but the fact that they have patience actually does allow them to potentially make a lot more money over more time, because we can see HMC could take some time to change their business strategy and to develop into the company that we need them to be. But once they get there, I think the shareholders will see the benefits of this. And again, it is institutions that have the time and the money to withstand these things which need to happen. I think that is really a positive of the institutions. But ultimately, the fact that they are buying is very, very strong, and it does reinforce my bullish sentiment. Tell me yours down below. I want to hear what you have to say. What do you think the reason for institutions buying are? Do you think that we'll see more institutions buy, or do you think we will see them sell shortly? I want to hear your opinions. I personally hope that they do continue to buy, and I hope that the ones that we have do continue to hold. But I want to hear what you have to say, so drop me a comment. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching through till the end, but let me tell you about our Discord. So on your screen, you will be seeing the N2S Finance Discord. Obviously, it is split into multiple sections. Basically, at the top, we have updates from me and all that kind of good stuff. If you scroll down a bit further, we have the main sections where we focus on cryptos, SPACs, and other hot stocks, including penny stocks, even stable growth stocks as well. And we even have a special AMC GME chat. If you scroll down, you can see some research and DD from the community. We also have funny memes, and you can see actual contributions from members down here. And again, if you do join us, it is completely free, link is down below. But if you do want to become a Patreon, you will actually get a pink sticker which will be displayed on your name. So your name will come up in pink as mine comes up in red down here, and that will show that you are a Patreon. But other than that, guys, you can join completely for free down below. You do not have to pay anything if you do not want to. Thank you for watching. See you soon.